Nicely done. And once we have set up our filter context component, now, of course, I would want to work on my products page. At the moment, that's all we have. And in the products page, there's going to be few separate components that are going to be responsible for certain functionalities. First, I would want to navigate to the pages. Of course, I'm looking for product page. Where it is, where it is, where it is. Products page over here. And instead of this heading 4, now I'd want to return a wrapper. And then we'll start with page hero. Or you know what? Sorry, my bad. We're not going to return wrapper. We'll return main first. Then we're going to set up our page hero. So page hero. Now in this case, we're not passing in the product. So we'll just set up our title. That will be equal to product. And then we'll return our wrapper. But I would want to add, of course, the class name as well, the global one, just so I have a little bit of height. So say here class name and then the page. Now I did import, or no, I didn't. Good. Sometimes when you make a mess up, it imports right away the React icon. In this case, it didn't happen. And then inside of this wrapper, there's going to be 3 components: filter, sort, and product list. So we'll start by working on a product list, and then sort, and then eventually filter. So let's go with div with the class names of section, center, and product. Section, center, and product classes. Inside of this div, let's place our filters component. So not the provider, filters, like so, because we're importing that from the components, of course. And then right after the filters, I'm going to go with another div, and we'll place a sort and the product list, because we need to keep in mind that if we take a look at the complete application, notice we have a grid layout. So I have filters on one side on a big screen, and then I have sort and the actual product in the other column. That's why we're doing this whole thing where we have filters and then div where we have 2 components: sort component and then the product list component. Product and then list component. Let's save this one, and we're going to navigate to the products page. And once we're here, like I said, we have 2 column layout. We have one with filters and then the second one with sort and product list. And first, I would just want to work on the product list. And even that one will be divided in 2 videos because we have multiple use cases. First of all, we have grid layout and then the column layout. Notice this is going to be the column layout, and then we can also switch to the list layout where we display each product individually. That's number 1. And then the second thing is going to be, if we run out of the products, I also would want to display that there are no products available. So just text like this. That's why we'll start with the product list. And you know what? For time being, I will remove all the components. We're done essentially in the products page. We won't go back. And now, of course, we're looking for the product list. And in here, there's going to be one return if we cannot display any products. And then there's going to be another return where we either display the list view or the grid view. Now we'll start with the grid view. We'll just return grid view from this component, and then eventually we'll set up the return for the empty product as well as the list view. So for now, in the products list, what I would want you to do is just return a grid view component. Don't worry, we'll set up the rest of the functionality in the next video. So grid view, and we would want to get from the filtered products the actual products. So let's go here with use filter context. That is my context. And before I can grab anything from that context, of course, I would need to pass it in, correct? So we navigate back to the filter context, and instead of passing filter provider, of course, we go back to the JavaScript. We set up our curlies and we say state. So I'm passing in all my state, which at the moment is just filter products and all product arrays. And eventually, of course, we'll add functions as well. So in the product list, now I would want to invoke use filter context. That is my hook. And what I'm looking for is filtered products. So I don't care about all products. Since I would want to display the products that I'm filtering, I'll always look for filtered products. So filtered underscore products, but I'll give it an alias of products because it's just easier for me. And eventually there's going to be one more property. For the time being, we won't care about it. And we'll go with use filter context like so. So we invoke it. And then, of course, I would want to pass in those products in the grid view. So this is going to be the view where I display the columns. So let me go back to the default. And this is the view that I'm shooting for. This is something that I would want to display. That's why I'll go with products. And I'll pass in my products that are coming from the context. And then, of course, I would want to navigate to my grid view. So that's the component. And of course, we'll set up our return. And it's going to be extremely straightforward where I would want to grab my product prop. Then I'll return my wrapper. So my styled component. And inside of it, there's going to be a div with a class of products container. Products container, like so. And then in here, we'll just iterate over the product and display the same product that we return in a homepage. So this is going to be the same deal. Now for the list, yes, there's going to be a little bit different setup, but just for the grid layout, for the column layout, we'll iterate over every item. Remember, is an object, and then I would just return. And then remember, the product component was just looking for the properties that I'm coming from the product. So since we have a list, I need to add a key. And remember, this is the same product that we're getting back. So there's going to be a ID property and then dot, 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 and then product like so. So I wrap this and I should see my layout. Now, of course, on a small screen, this is going to be the look. But once we go to the big screen, of course, it's going to look a bit different where we have the actual columns. So that should be our initial setup for the product page.